You
It was a
mentioned
lot of
Ben
fun. It really
Roberts.
was.
You mentioned Ben Roberts. The Herald Leader is our next topic with the almost said the bomb they dropped. It's not really a bomb, but it was a very informative piece this morning, kind of just explaining everything that's gone on. If you haven't been keeping up with it, with the revenue sharing, NIL, they kind of cleared up rumors on what Kentucky spent. Are we all just is 22 million now? We're just accepting that's what it was.
I mean, if they're putting it in print in the Herald Leader, I think that's pretty firm.
I agree.
I mean, I think the highest estimate we had heard, people would throw out the number 20. I think the number 17 million was out there. So, but 22 is a lot. And if you read it, the deals that they bring in throughout the season will just add on to that. So by the end of the season, it could be way more than that, depending on how things go, which it's crazy. A couple more things from that. It was double last year's payroll. And I think they said most teams are expected to spend like 10 million on their rosters. Some other teams will pay more. I think St. John's is probably the next closest to Kentucky in terms of that. But it's a lot of money. I don't know. I mean, I've been writing a column on it all afternoon, and I'm just trying to figure out. Obviously, it raises the expectations when other, people are looking at Kentucky this season, because if they don't win it all, it's going to be, well, they had $22 million and they couldn't win it all. But if they do win it all, it's going to be like, oh, well, of course they did. They had $22 million. But as a Kentucky fan, does it raise your expectations at all? Or is that always the expectation, is to win it all? Does it change your outlook on this season, I guess?
No, because we're Kentucky. And I forgot who was doing the Final Four or it's always national media. I love when national media.
I think it was Jeff Goodman.
Yeah, like how you should feel about your team. But history tells us that if you're a good Kentucky basketball coach, you go to a Final Four within 3 years and you win a title within 6. If you're a bad Kentucky basketball coach, you don't last that long. Like, that's just how it is. So I don't think the money makes that big of a difference. And I can't feel bad about it. Do Dodgers fans feel bad about it?
Right.
I mean,
are we supposed to apologize for spending a lot of money? Like, I don't, yeah.
The part that I think, and maybe Zach, you can take it and run with this, but for me, it's less about the money and more about the volume of players. And normal, like in my mind, you win for whether it's Kentucky 2012, Villanova in 18. It's like a 7-8 man rotation. Pope's trying to get 10 or 12 guys. Like, it feels like a throwback Pitino. I'm more interested in how that part of it works versus the actual overall price total. Because here's the thing too: the price is so high is because they had to spend their nil money before revenue sharing happened. Like, that's why it's so big this year. It's until the more revenue comes in, it's probably going to be less. So like the next 5 years, it's probably going to be less than that until revenues grow and then 22 comes back. So for me, it's more about just like, how do they get everyone involved, and how does Pope pull the right levers to make sure that this team is successful, all the mouths get fed, and we don't say the P word and do the platoon thing again.
I think the 22 million number is probably being reported that high. Kind of what you said, Nick. Like, Pope brought in 14 guys that can all play. So I bet the average player salary, or whatever word you want to use, is probably similar in line with the rest of Power 4 teams. But the volume of players that he brought in is what gets you that number so high. Because I think he probably was a little, I don't know if scared off is the right way, just like worried about how last year unfolded with all the injuries and everything. So he kind of built in a plan that, doesn't prevent that from happening again, but at least makes it easier if things go south with an injury or two.
Insurance.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, John Calipari, he's actual player insurance. He's the revolutionary behind all that. That's a whole different thing, though, that we could go on a tangent about. So I've already seen a lot of Kentucky fans kind of saying, it's now Final Four or bust. And that, like Nick said, that's kind of always the case. But
right.
I'm not going to put any different expectations on the team because of the money. Like, this team can lose 4 games this season, win the SEC championship, and lose in the Elite Eight on a buzzer beater to the team that goes on to win it all. Would that still be a disappointing season? Probably not. Like, that would still be a good season for Kentucky. I think most fans would take that. So the money, I couldn't really care less about what the actual number is. It's not my money. Pope has talked openly this season, like he's not really shied away from that either. When the idea of Kentucky having the highest payroll in the country, when that idea has been posed to him in questions about press conferences this season, he hasn't necessarily shot it down. He's joked and been like, I think one back in the summer, they're like, so how much is your joke? How much is the payroll worth? He's like, it's $100 million or something ridiculous. Like he's kind of leaning into it because he probably knows like that's if people are going to give you all this money, you might as well spend it. So I don't have any issues with all the numbers being reported. Everything doesn't change my expectations, anything like that. I still think this is a team that can definitely go to the Final Four, regardless of what the number is that is being reported. So it is very high, though. That's a lot of money.
I just thought it was kind of weird that I remember it might have been David Sisk who initially put out that $20 million a few months ago, and people at UK got all frazzled about it. Dude, people figure it out. Like, secrets don't stay secrets forever.
The 45% revenue sharing number that was reported however long ago, that was the one that I feel like was definitely the one that was a little bit like inflated too much, because it just didn't make sense for Kentucky to just poo-poo the football team that way at all. It just
and Ben came out and said that that's more like 25 to 30%, which seems
sense. More that's much more understandable.
But I guess my whole thing with this is with fans saying, well, it's Final Four or bust. Like, I guess we felt the same when Kentucky had a team full of future NBA draft picks and fell early. Yeah. So, I mean, how is this any different? It's not. It's just now you're seeing like a figure behind it, like a number. And I think that people feel like squeamish and like, ugh, because it's just how it is now. It's like you are accepting that players are getting paid and you're seeing a dollar figure behind that. And that makes you uncomfortable because that's what college sports is. And it has been for a long time, but now it's all above the table.
See, that's the part too. Like, did we really think that these guys didn't have money in their pockets?
Right.
Well, and I did one of the things that I really took from there's a lot of things in Ben Roberts' article on the Herald Leader. It's loaded with information. It's good
go read
stuff.
it.
But yeah, you should go read it. But one of the things I did find interesting was how he talked about, I think Cal's last team. He kind of the reporting was that his last team at Kentucky was only like $4 million in NIL. That would have been maybe the second season of NIL, or was it the first season? Maybe the second season, I think.
I think second. Yeah.
Second. So I'm just thinking like 4 million, then 2 years later to 20. Like the number, I mean, obviously you have the whole revenue sharing. There was no rules or anything. You had to get all that money in beforehand. But like, I'm just kind of the idea that like Reed Shepherd was probably making less at Kentucky than like maybe even Braden Hawthorne is just kind of incredible to think about. With just 2 years of separation there.
Times have changed quite a bit. Well, on the Final Four bust thing, not to be like a smart ass, but when people say that and then they don't get to the Final Four, I mean, what are we gonna do? I mean, you can still have a good year. I mean, we all want to go, but how many years we said Final Four and bust? They didn't go to the Final Four, and then we just got excited about the next year. I mean, that's kind of how it works, unless it's just extremely disappointing.
Yeah.
But in most cases,
or something.
In most cases, you're not getting there. It's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, and that's also why it's more and more important to do something like SEC Tournament Championship, SEC regular season title. Like those things would help at the end of the year if Kentucky does lose early, if they don't make it to the Final Four. At least you can go back and say, well, we won the SEC tournament. We won the SEC regular season title for the first time since who knows when. So,
You're ultimately in the sport judged by the tournament, but checking one of those benchmarks is really important too. Especially if you know, because Pope checked all the other ones by beating Duke, beating Louisville, all the top 15 wins or whatever. But those other ones are still out there. He's got to get at least one of those this year.
We really got to beat Louisville this year, because if we don't, they're going to rub that $22 million thing in our face, and it's going to be exhausting.
I just want you all to spend more than one night in Nashville.
Me too. Yeah. I'd love it.
Speak for yourself.
You know what? Roberts needs help selling some bologna sandwiches,
It's true. Recession special. Shout out.
Oh, yeah. Big fan.
I would rather have $22 million than not have it. That's my thing.
Right. And I'm not going to apologize for Kentucky having it. Like, people who are just jealous.
We got Florida's head coach bickering with reporters because he doesn't have enough money of his own. So
that's his problem.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
Money's not the end all be all, but if you have a lot of it, I mean, it's not not
Smoke him
the
if you
worst
got him.
thing in the world, you know.
Yep.
Nobody's hating on Jeff Bezos for. I mean, it's a problem, but I'm not gonna be mad that I have more money than Louisville or that I have more money than Florida. So
I do want
we'll
to
take the money.
Connor kind of brings up an interesting point here. Actually, I'll throw it on the screen. Is maybe are there 2-year deals baked in here with multiple players and those numbers are added in there? Do we think, or I'm not sure if that was actually
I think
mentioned
so.
or not. In
I
the
think they've.
article.
If I were guessing, they front loaded a lot of deals for longer term guys with this head start they had on rev share.
Like you have to think like Malachi Marino.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
maybe you give Malachi a 3-year deal off the bat and just kind of pay him all that money.
And the other part too, how much of that is included in all of Jasper's, Donato's, Morgan and Morgan? Yeah, like he had 20 sponsors at his commitment. Like, it's not really
the
UK's
third
money.
bank building where Jasper and who else was it? Jasper and Reese and Trent were all doing their Morgan and Morgan thing. Like I'm sure they're getting a nice little pretty penny from that.
Yeah.
You can tell they have a little more in the bank account just by their pizza NIL commercials, because we all remember the Reed and Rob where Reed had just mowed in his t-shirt and they were reading off a script and it was shot with an iPhone 3. I just saw maybe Brandon Garrison yesterday has like a 4K Little Caesars commercial. Looks like it should be national TV Super Bowl. So it's clear the budget's got a little better over there from
the
when we were
150?
first figuring out the NIL.
God.
Yeah,
That was such an amazing commercial. Really was.
That's the best one. Wasn't there another one with like lasers where they did a superhero bit? What was?
I don't even.
There
know.
are a few bad ones in the beginning.
Yeah, they
Was
had
it
Dante
some
Allen's
ones.
Dante Allen's TikTok.
Yes. Oh man.
No, I know he's passionate about them, but a few of those were a little hard to watch.
Is that the orthodontist?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Early NIL was
Read the whole thing with the orthodontist.
Right.
Yeah.